So welcome to today's coaching clinic, everybody. And we're looking at really, you're doing your best. So stop beating up on yourself. And this is for all of you that have just the experience of a lot of self-criticism, a lot of beating up on yourself, really. Maybe you think you should be further ahead by now. Maybe you think that you should have already performed at a greater pace or greater impact or whatever it is that's going on for you. If the story in your head tends to be quite critical, particularly around where you are right now in your life and what you still haven't done, then today's coaching clinic will really help you. We'll start with our little meditation, little guided visualization. And from there, we shall go into the clinic. So here we go. Join with me now. If you'd like to, just put your feet on the ground, close your eyes, and take a couple of deep breaths. So in through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Out through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Feel yourself sinking in through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Out through the nose, 2, 3, 4. And you're just letting yourself be present. You're letting yourself come into the space, using the breath to ground yourself in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. See roots coming from your feet, down through the ground, right down into the underground, right down to a rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. Feel yourself becoming grounded. Let yourself be here. And see golden light coming up from the roots, all the way up through the rock, from the rock, through the roots, up through the underground, up through the ground, up through your floorboards, up through your feet. And now in your own time, move that golden light all the way up through your body in your own time. Take a few moments to do that. Letting yourself feel the energy of the golden light supporting you and healing you. Keeping yourself completely grounded. And this golden light and energy creates a beautiful healing balm around you. If there's anywhere in your body that needs a little bit of extra love right now, anywhere at all, just send that light there. Let that light move in to heal you. To comfort you, to cover you. And this golden light just moves throughout the body and around the body and knows that you're enough. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't look for you to be more. It doesn't try and scare you into ultimatums. This light of your true nature sees you as good enough. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't created the problem. Life knows what it's doing. Wisdom knows how to find solutions. And sometimes love and wisdom closes a door or says no, always with the intention that it knows what it's doing and it knows what you need. So let this golden loving light soothe you and embalm you, and send it now to any situation or person or circumstance that is causing you concern or worry. Send it now. Send the light to that situation, person, circumstance. As the light of your true nature meets their true nature, miracles occur. As the light of your true nature meets the true nature of the circumstance or the situation, solutions can occur. So with this light now, just allow it to comfort you and support you. And whatever story you have in your head about yourself, about what you've done wrong, about what you've not done yet, about what you should be doing, about what you shouldn't be doing, send the light to that story now. Know that you are beyond that story. The story lives in your experience, in your head, but it is not your true nature. Who you are beyond that chatter is all that matters. And see roots coming from your feet down through the ground, down into the underground, right down to a rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. In through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. And in your own time, just opening your eyes and being here in the room, in the clinic now. And feel free to bring your camera on if you'd like to, it's up to you. when I was reflecting on today's topic, I had really been listening to my clients in the past 10 days, really, week to 10 days. And what had become so clear to me was that in their pursuit of trying to find a solution to the problem, what they weren't seeing was the story that they were compelled by. So for some of them, that story is about money. They want more abundance. They want more money. They want to experience money in a fresh, different way. And for some of them, that story is a story around love and romance and relationship and how they're looking for that, and they're wanting to grow that, and they're wanting to experience more of that. And then for others, it's the purpose quest, needing to be of purpose, needing to do more, needing to contribute in a bigger way. The content doesn't matter. What matters is that you see that you're being compelled by a story. And when you get freedom from the story, not only is your mind quieter, but life can rush in. There's space energetically for life to rush in with all sorts of solutions, opportunities, and possibilities that you cannot see clearly when you are being compelled by this story. And it's the human game to be getting lost in the story. But as I worked with them and as I share with you, I'm not interested in your story looking better. I'm interested in you getting, as they got, freedom from that noise in their head. Because that creates a space in which life can support you. You're doing your best. You just think you should be somewhere else doing something better. There's a great freedom that comes in seeing that you're doing your best. When you're living life with a gun to your head, and that gun is usually in the form of tension, stress, upset, breakups, loss, urgency, not enoughness. When you're living life with a gun to your head, you're in the story. Not much freedom resides there. So there's something really hopeful and helpful in even getting a quarter of an inch of space from the story that's compelling you right now. That story could be about your weight. That story could be about your love life. That story could be about your home needing reorganized. Yes, there are things you want. Yes, there are things you'd like to do. But when you come at those things from a space of, that'd be nice, versus white knuckling your way through it and to it and to get it done and to get it back, it's a very different experience. We all know beating ourselves up does not lead to change. In fact, it keeps us in a cycle of reaching for more unhelpful behaviors. So the more we're beating ourselves up, the more inclined we are to try and dim that noise down with anything. Maybe we zone out with hours of television. Maybe we overspend on our cards. Maybe we overeat, overindulge, overdo things, overexercise. We're doing our best to try and get some freedom from the story. But the good news is that when you start to see that it is the story and nothing more than that, it is not your true nature. When you start to see that, you don't need to soothe yourself so much anymore. You no longer need to overextend yourself as a means to feeling better. Is this resonating at all, making sense at all? Does anyone have a question or a comment? And you can write it if you don't want to say it out loud, but just give me a feel for where you're at rather than me continuing to talk at you, if you could. Thanks, Lillian. It's making sense. Okay. So some of you here may have questions for coaching on. Feel free to write those in the box or to come on and ask your question. I want to make this relevant. So feel free to get what you need today. We're a smaller group today, so there's space. Okay, Annette, thank you. Mm-hmm. You may have been living your story from the age of 2 or 3 years. It may be the noise in your head for that length of time, or you may be living a new story right now where you're finding yourself beating up or punishing yourself. It doesn't really matter about the length of time, but what does matter is that you can begin to get a glimpse of how innocently you're being compelled by feelings that inform you in a way that you think you need to act upon, you need to do something about. When we get strong feelings of stress, tension, upset, urgency, regret, shame, guilt, when we get strong feelings, that is our invitation to see that we're in our story. It is not our invitation to do something radical. It is not our invitation to fix everything and figure it all out. It is our invitation to see, oh, I'm back in my story. Those powerful feelings are letting us know when we're caught up here. And what would your life be like if you could accept you are doing your best? You've been doing your best given the hurricane you've been living in. Most people that come to me have no idea the level of turbulence they have adapted to. And that's the beautiful thing about us humans. We can adapt to a certain level of discomfort. But that doesn't mean the discomfort is normal. You know, just as we would put our hand on a hot stove it's built into us to back off because it burns us. Well, it's the same with your thinking and your story. You know, the feeling of tension and stress and urgency is the burning sensation. It's trying to get you to back off from your thinking, not to back off from your life altogether, not to back off from your marriage, not to back off from your business. Those intense feelings are inviting you to back off from the story you're making up about the situation. Now, yes, it's true. Maybe you are going bankrupt. Maybe your loved one has left you. Maybe somebody has died. I'm not saying that you're making that stuff up, but I'm saying that tension, stress, worry, and upset are intense and sometimes gentle reminders that the way you're thinking about the scenario and what's happened isn't helpful. Nobody told us that. It's one of the biggest things we could see more deeply. So I'm not quite sure where to go here. Everyone's pretty quiet today. But if you have a question or you have a wondering or you have something you want to hear me talk about, you know, come on ahead and let us be guided. Pamela, were you going to say something? I see your line is unmuted.
Oh, no,
Okay.
okay.
You might notice that your mind is settling down as we share here. How can we keep reminding ourselves that we're in our story? Oh, that's a good question, Lillian. Well, less so than reminding ourselves we're in our story, the feeling you are in lets you know when you're back in the story. So the feeling, yeah, often I forget when caught up in the feeling. Yeah, because the feeling is seductive. Feelings of not enoughness, frustration, future tripping, anxiety, stress, worry, depression, concern. All of those feelings are the reminders. Not that you got to act on things, but that you're back in the story about yourself. I'll give you quite a personal example. So I have lived a long time in the story, probably since childhood, in the story of I should be getting more done. And so because that story looked real to me, that left me living in a lot of dissatisfaction with myself and my progress. Now, my mind figured out a way to ease up on that story. And that was that I find that every time I was too tired, I was off the hook. I didn't have to produce so much, perform so much, be so productive. So I was finding ways to make myself tired. Because the moment I got tired, that meant I was off the hook. Oh, there you go. You can't do much now, Grace, because you're tired. And it's just how it is. So we don't have to do it. So I didn't know I was in that story, but what I did know was that I was often worrying about how I was going to feel the next day. So I lived in the experience of, watching the clock, and I better not get myself tired, and I need to get X amount of sleep. And if I don't get X amount of sleep, then I need to be worried because it means it's going to impact me. I'm going to feel bad the next day. Well, that was all what I was making up before I understood what I understand now. And that was living an experience of, I've got to be productive. I can't relax until. So, of course, my wisdom found ways to make me tired. So I was off the hook from that story. See how it works? But what I didn't know was the feelings of I've got to be productive, which came with a feeling of tension, stress, anxiety, not enoughness, lack of enjoyment. The feelings of that were my reminders that I was in the story. I just didn't know that. I didn't know that our feelings were reminders of our state of mind, not evidence of things we need to do. And we all have different stories going on. Some of you do have the story of productiveness. Some of you do have the story of tiredness, or the story of well-being. Some of you do have, concern about that. Some of you do have the story of money and not enough and how do I get. Some of you have the story of, image and self-consciousness and how you look and how you appear to the world and what you weigh. So you see, the content doesn't matter. We're all getting different flavors of that at different times. But what matters is that you see that when you're caught up in the story, whatever the story is about, however long it's been going on, you can expect feelings of stress, tension, upset, self-consciousness, anxiety as feedback that you're lost in the story again. Those are the reminders. And sometimes we won't notice because we'll get so lost and so caught up and so profoundly worried about ourselves. And sometimes it'll feel so awful that we'll remember, or we'll suddenly realize that we got to go and listen to Sydney Banks or click on a coaching clinic or hear something fresh. It'll come to us. Oh, this doesn't feel right. There's something I'm not seeing here. Your wisdom will always find a way to get you off the hook. Any other questions? Any other comments? Yeah. Any other yes, but?
Yes. Grace.
Hey.
I'm revealing something about myself. My father, who passed in September, he used to say when I was growing up that giving her money was like flushing it down the toilet bowl. And that, now that he's passed, I have to rewrite that story.
Yeah.
That was really painful.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize at the time, but it was so crude and it was a horrible thing to say and hear.
And not even true, just what he was using in his story to transfer to you.
It's horrible. but I love him dearly. We loved each other very much, but he said that was the money story I got from him about me. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Pamela. I think we've all got a level of story from parents that aren't necessarily our own, and what we've learned to make true without needing to, but it's innocent. So yeah, you've just seen something there, Pamela. You've just seen that. And as we see things more clearly, everything changes. The game changes. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Come on, Sharleen, yes?
Yeah, so something clicked in me today, and it was this thing about time, money flow and time. And it clicked to me today that the time comes from me. I'm not subject.
One sec, Sharleen. Amy, could you mute your line, sweetheart? Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm not subject to time as if it's this external authority over me, that creates pressure. I've really just decided that I didn't like the way I was feeling, so I've chosen another feeling state. And I guess what I'm asking is, I've noticed that you are relaxed and embodied as a, you may not always be that way, but whenever I have encountered you, you have been that. And I just wondered, it's so pretty here. How do I stay here?
What does your wisdom say to you about staying there?
Yeah, the wisdom in me nullifies the question, actually, because it's this future reaching question, which creates anxiety in and of itself. So the real answer is, there is no staying there, just stay here. Just stay here. I've got this launch planned and I'm doing all of the things. I don't even like how being a quote unquote responsible business owner feels, but responsibility from this perspective of, this is smart and this is needful and this is beneficial. It's all very heady to me. And I want to launch with love. I love the way I'm going to launch, and I love public speaking, and I love doing live streams, and I love the people I'm going to serve. And so I'm going to stay here. This is what I'm choosing.
And I wouldn't put too much pressure on myself to even stay here. Just catch that, oh, I'm in the good feeling, I don't want to lose it,
Right, yeah.
The way the mind works for all of us is that it will go up and down, like the elevator of consciousness I taught you about, Sharleen, that the state of mind will go up and down throughout the day. And some days you'll wake up and it'll be really low because it dropped during the night. We don't have control over which floor we're on. And that's the biggest difference between the direction we're looking in and all the self-help work out there that keeps telling you that you have some level of control over, over your state of mind. You don't. The energy of life is moving through you. And as the energy of life moves through you, your state of mind will go up, your state of mind will go down, your state of mind will be in one place, your state of mind will be in another place. It will look to you like circumstances are creating that. They're not. The divine energy behind life that's beating your heart right now is creating that. And so we don't have to be afraid of falling back down or trying to stay on one floor of the elevator for the rest of our lives, especially when we're doing a launch. We just want to get less concerned about the feeling we're living in. Did you hear something in that?
That is delicious.
That's the journey we're on.
Not even being attached to the feeling. Oh, that's so delicious.
Not being afraid of any feeling.
Yeah. Oh.
Because the feeling is always just there to alert us to our state of mind. Nobody told us that. And whilst we're out busy trying to get into a better feeling state, what we're really saying is, I'm not okay in the feeling I'm in. Get me out of here. When you leave the system alone, when you're not afraid of the feeling you're in, guess what? You go back up because you're wired for well-being anyway.
Yeah.
Divine energy is pure well-being.
That is huge. You are wired for well-being. It just, what I hear when you say that is just trust. You can afford to let go and trust. And so I trust myself in regards to business, money, and time. I just do. And my head is telling me to get through my to-do list, and my body is saying, go and have a nap.
Yeah.
You know,
that's where you want to be discerning, you know, that discerning about the story. You catch the story. I should be productive.
Yeah, I feel like a lady of luxury, actually.
Good.
Yeah, so I'm going to take that nap.
Good.
By the way, I'm so sorry for joining late every time. I have
that's okay.
A standing appointment just before this, so.
Not a problem. Thanks
Thank you
for
so
your
much
question.
for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anita wrote in, I think busyness and productivity has changed for me. I always thought if I wasn't constantly doing something, I was lazy and not delivering. Now I have a different perspective. Good. Yeah, that's freedom from the story. You know, that's definitely freedom from the story, because those judgments about laziness, about not enoughness, about need to be on itness, those aren't our true nature. Those are learned stories, not truths. Not truths at all. And so Sharleen was talking about launching with love, and I think that's beautiful. One of the things that I've really seen as a shift in my business model over the years, especially since coming to understand how the mind works, is that people are drawn to the level of well-being you're launching from. People are drawn to the level of well-being you're living in. Yes, your words and your marketing and your sharing is going to hold the essence of that and going to communicate with people what you've got. But what is greatly underestimated is that there's an energetic spaciousness, like a void, an emptiness, waiting to be filled, that fills a program. So if you're putting everything out there and it's all perfect and it's brilliant and it looks great and you've got a great idea, but energetically you don't have any level of well-being going on mentally and physically and spiritually, you're kind of empty, then you want to just wait and launch when you're wide open energetically. And that doesn't just go for launching, that goes for attracting anything in life. When our mental and energetic bandwidth is open, because we're not living in a ton of story and thought and living at the speed of light, trying to get stuff done in the world. When we're open, wide open, there is space for people and opportunities to come through, solutions, resolutions to come forward. And we just weren't taught that either. There's been such an emphasis on, manifesting things from action and marketing and selling in ways and launching in ways that aren't necessarily coming from that spaciousness. And when it's not coming from spaciousness internally, it's kind of hard to attract externally. What else you got today, ladies? Who else would like to come forward? Lillian, can you give an example of your state when you do a launch or promote something, particularly online? Yeah, sure. So the program that I just launched, Your New Chapter, yeah, that was an example of, I'd been wanting to be back in my work with a group for a while. I'd done a lot of collaborations in the last year and a half, but I wanted to do something of my own. But I also had the wisdom to see, not now, this is going back a number of months. Energetically, I don't think I was ready to be launching something or on my own with something. And I was still, going through my process. But the yearning to be of service was there. The wisdom was saying, energetically, is not really ready. And I knew that because every time I thought about it, I thought, oh, that just seems like too much work. Love to do it, but just seems like a lot of work. Anyway, eventually what happened was my state began to change. I began to open up energetically. The yearning to be of service with a group began to get stronger and stronger. And I began to trust that. And the state I was in when I launched Your New Chapter was very much a state of alignment, openness. I didn't have a big thing on it about it. This needs to work or else. I wasn't white knuckling my way through it. It was just a state of, this would be nice. I wonder what to call it. I wonder what I should call this thing I'm going to offer. And what has always worked for me has been, well, where are you at, Grace? And the place I was at was, I'm ready for a new chapter. I'm done living in a state of grief and regret and guilt and shame and all those emotions that come when you lose the love of your life. I was like, I'm just ready for a new chapter. I wanted out of my comfort zone as well. That was a big one for me too. I just wanted out of my comfort zone, and life invited me to Mexico. Well, that couldn't have been more out of my comfort zone than any other trip I've ever done, because it was just so out of the comfort zone. But it was also, oh wow, that's like a new chapter. So Lillian, this state I was in to promote was openly available for a new influx of people. And they are a wonderful new influx of people. We've got 20 people in that group. And life, as I trusted life, life led me to the correct title. You know, I was resonating within myself around, well, I want a new chapter. And then one day I was lying on the couch and I had prayed for guidance earlier in the day. You know, what do I call this? What do I call this thing I'm going to do, offer? And I'm lying on the couch and somebody sends me a message and said, Grace, I've just done this meditation. I think you'd like it. It's called Your Next Chapter. And from there, I just was like, oh, perfect. Your New Chapter is what I'm going to call my group. And even in all my distraction, Lillian, you know, because I have been distracted, you know, life got fast and busy for me, you know, and I just seem to have a lot of responsibility with situations that I didn't have to think about before. But even with all of that, it didn't matter, because there was an internal spaciousness, there was a readiness, there was a yearning, there was a timing that just allowed for a state of grace. And people feel it from you. People know. We're all like little animals sniffing each other out. We all know what state of well-being somebody's really living in. It's not their words, it's the energy they're carrying. It's not how incredible their program is or how good the pricing is. It's the energy they're carrying forward. And I think that's hopeful, because I would far more prefer to be working on is a bit of a strong word, but I'd much rather be working towards living in well-being than, you know, as a means to generating business. I think that's a lovely way to do business.
Thanks for that, Grace. That really all makes sense, and it really does resonate with me, because one of the things that's been speaking to me for a long time is trust. And just to wait. But sometimes I get impatient. And I've already had proof of waiting, which happened last year, where I just felt, I think it was from November into December, I just felt like I needed to hibernate. So I didn't put no program out, nothing. I just carried on with I do a free session online, free pause and breathe session online, and that's what I felt compelled to do. And then I had a break over Christmas, and then it was through a conversation with a friend that some ideas just started to come. And then again, like you said, this yearning of it was something I had done previously a couple of years ago, and it came to me like a fresh. And then when I launched that, it was all so easy. It just all went in flow. But it's those, and I shouldn't even say this, because it's something that I know I practice and I share with other people, but it's those moments of silence, those moments of stillness, which is what I love to be in. That's the atmosphere I love to be in. That at times, I think that's when the stories start kicking in. The brain starts looking for something to attach to say, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you shouldn't be just sitting there doing nothing. But yeah, my wisdom or my spirit is like, no, just rest and be.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think you have a really good discernment, Lillian, between when your wisdom is talking to you and the noise in your head, the story is talking to you, you know, so being able to discern between the two will keep you on the right path. And yeah, you know, any launch can be in flow, in alignment, in love, you know. But we're all givers. So it's not like we're going to jobs where we're just doing paperwork. So we have to have a level of bandwidth, which means we do need more rest. We may enjoy more exploration around well-being versus finance. You know, we probably have yearning towards service that contributes to the well-being of others. So anything we can do that up-levels our sense of wellness is going to impact a launch, a business, a client, a direction. Thanks for sharing, Lillian.
Thanks, Grace.
Anybody else today? Anybody else? Thank you, Sharleen, for saying, I wish I could send you love hearts as you speak, like on a live stream. I don't know how you do that on Zoom, but thank you. Anybody else today before we finish?
Can I just say that I just received an email and my whole emotional state started to change. And I just let it be. And now it's gone. And that took seconds. Really powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you.
We have the most incredible, divinely designed system in the universe that within seconds, our feeling state can change. What we want to remember is it's not coming from out there. It's not coming from circumstances or emails or even this clinic. It's not coming from out there. It's coming from how we're using our thought, our story in the moment. And as we get deeper insight around that, our world begins to change. It's not that we don't get uncomfortable feelings, it's that we start to catch and say, oh, there's the story again. Okay, the feeling's letting me know where I'm at with my state of mind. So thank you for being here today, everybody. We've had a nice small group today and able to really go deep, I feel. Hopefully your mind has quietened down a little bit. Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened there, ladies. I just got cut off. But we are at the end now. So I will leave you with this peaceful feeling. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. I'd like to share with you that I have opened up a couple of spaces for private retreats in June and September in Italy. So if you'd like to come and join me, there's a 2-day option and there's a 4-day option. Just get in touch, gracefulcoaching@gmail.com. We can set up a time to talk. There's no obligation. You can explore with me and see if it's something that you'd like to do. And I can share with you how it would look and what we would experience together. So I look forward to being with you in person in Italy, and I look forward to being with you next week on the coaching clinic. Lots of love, everybody. Ciao.